Yo, what's up, guys? It's the MMA analyst here to give you my betting picks for UFC 149. Let's get right down to it. We've got Renan Barao versus Urijah Faber. This is going to be a gold pick for Renan Barao. Although this is one of those fights where you could go either way. If you just want to put money on the underdog, which is obviously Faber at plus 170, it's probably the best underdog pick for the event. As a lot of what you do, most recently is kind of like what causes the lines to be chosen. Urijah Faber, I would imagine this is almost even, and even before the fight, I figured Barao would maybe be the underdog. But to see Faber as the underdog, a bet on Faber wouldn't be the worst idea at all. It's actually not a bad idea. It might be a good idea. But I think the safer money is with Barao. I think the whole Jose Aldo camp, I think they understand how to beat Urijah Faber. I think Barao is equipped, has the right tools with a solid takedown defense, solid jiu-jitsu, and really good striking. I think you put those three things together against Urijah Faber, who is basically speed and wrestling and strength. I think you end up beating Urijah Faber, and many people aren't able to do that. And I do think Barao will be able to. So I do think Barao will get the win. I don't think he'll win by decision, to be honest. I think if he wins, it'll be a finish. If Faber wins, it will be a decision. So there you go. It's going to be, again, a gold pick for Renan Barao. Hector Lombard versus Tim Boetsch. This is going to be a platinum pick for Hector Lombard. It could very well be a gold pick, but I am pretty certain that Hector Lombard's striking against Tim's striking, and Lombard's 4th degree judo black belt and his black belt in jiu-jitsu and all of that, which hasn't necessarily went up against the toughest of opposition in the more recent years. I think all of that will be too much for Tim Boetsch. At minus 360, that's tough to see Lombard come into the UFC first fight, pretty decent test, I would say, since his win against Brian Ebersol a few years ago, which was Brian Ebersol's last loss. Almost 4-1 underdog, not the best money at all. I do think Hector Lombard will win. If you want to pick a knockout of the night, maybe instead of placing a bet, or you want to just say Hector Lombard by something, you could definitely say Hector Lombard by knockout, and that will give you better odds. And it's not like I don't think Hector Lombard's going to win by decision. He could win by submission, though, so there you go. But I do have Hector Lombard, platinum pick. Czech Congo, Sean Jordan. The odds for this were actually a little bit better just a few days ago. That's kind of the way it works. With Czech Congo being, I think, as much as the plus 125 as underdog. He's now up, plus 105, almost even now. Basically, everybody was putting money on Czech Congo, and I agree with this. And I think Czech Congo is going to win this fight. Sean Jordan hasn't shown me that he has what it takes, other than fists, which could potentially put Congo to sleep because he doesn't have exactly the best chin. But I think Jordan has the same issue, and you just haven't seen this, or the lines makers haven't really seen this recently. But Sean Jordan's chin isn't the greatest either. And I think whoever strikes first, whoever hits first, will be the one to potentially win this fight. And I see Czech Congo being able to throw those punches straight down the middle. Sean Jordan, I see him getting caught and getting knocked out before the end of the second round. So that is a gold pick for Czech Congo. Chris Clements versus Matt Riddle. It's a do not bet. It's definitely a do not bet. I did initially, and I do pick Matt Riddle to win, but not to put money on. Brian Ebersol versus James Head. It's a platinum pick for Brian Ebersol. It's probably one of the more solid picks for the day. I see Brian Ebersol just being better at everything, and James Head just being in over his head. No pun intended. Pun intended. I don't see James Head coming out here with with the comeback or the big upset. Brian Ebersol's got better jiu-jitsu. His striking is more than competent. He's got the experience factor. Cardio is good. Wrestling, everything. So Brian Ebersol, the only reason it's not more, again, is just certain fighters, even though it's been working for Ebersol, certain fighters are just a little bit too wild for me. They're just willing to fight a little more than I'd like. And that's good for fans, but not exactly good for betting. So, there is a possibility that Ebersol comes out here and just goes haywire and just does all type of crazy stuff like he always does, and something stupid happens and he loses. So, platinum pick for Brian Ebersol. He will most likely win that fight. Court McGee versus Nick Ring. This is going to be a gold pick for Court McGee. Basically, he's going to outmuscle Nick Ring, just be in his face. Nick Ring's pretty good, pretty well-rounded, but I think Court McGee just makes the fight dirty, kind of like Clay Guida minus the running. Like a Clay Guida moving forward and just make it real dirty, put him up against the cage, throw punches, very active, solid cardio, all of that stuff. I think it will impress the judges, and I think it'll be a close fight, and I do think that he'll win this close fight. Again, a gold pick for Court McGee. Mitch Clark versus Kuvanen. I'm gonna go with a silver pick for Kuvanen. I think he'll be able to win this fight with the grappling, get the fight to the ground, control. If not, take the fight to the ground. At least not be in too much trouble. Try to take the fight to the ground. Basically, I have Mitch Clark being more defensive than offensive in this fight. However, there's a possibility that Mitch Clark can come out with this win. He's definitely competent fighter himself. So at the end of the day, it's a silver pick. I do think Anton's going to win, but silver pick. Daniel Pineda, Carvalho. Daniel Pineda, I'm going to go here. This would be a diamond pick, except for the fact that certain people just can't be a diamond pick. And although Antonio Carvalho pretty much doesn't bring much to any fight, to be honest. That's no disrespect to him, but it is what it is. Daniel Pineda brings just slightly a bit more. So I have Daniel Pineda winning this fight. Platinum pick for Daniel Pineda. Pretty decent odds as well, minus 210. Antonio Carvalho against most people will be at least plus 250, maybe even plus 300. So, Daniel Pineda just kind of leaves room for mistakes a lot of the times. But I do think he'll be able to get this win. And, he could definitely win on the feet or with the submission. Brian Caraway, Mitch Gannon. I'm going to go with a do not bet here. I did pick, actually, the underdog Mitch Gannon in my regular picks. But here it's a do not bet. Anthony Perosh versus Ryan Jimmo. This is probably my underdog pick of the day, plus 60 for Anthony Perosh. It's going to be a gold pick for him. Ryan Jimmo's got like a 16-fight winning streak. I think he's 17-1, but he really doesn't do anything. At least lately, for the last 4, 5, 6 fights, he actually doesn't do much. He goes out there, fights, and doesn't really go for finishes. He's very, very low output in strikes for the most part. And I think in this fight that will definitely help Perosh. I think Perosh will be the one moving forward, and I think Perosh will get a close decision. Or could even be he just wins all 3 rounds, by a big enough margin to get the 30-27. Not like he's going to whoop anybody's butt. I don't see anybody bleeding in this fight. I don't see any real bruises. But I see just one person winning the fight, and that is Anthony Perosh. And it's going to be a gold pick for Anthony Perosh. And last but not least, Francisco Rivera versus Roland Delorme. This is also going to be a do not bet. It's bordering on a silver pick for Francisco Rivera, but I'm just going to leave it as a do not bet. If you have any questions, let me know. Send me an email, all that good stuff. Bet responsibly, MMA, it's important. Good luck. Peace.